Hello everybody, Victor Ahern with Atlatl.com. So tonight, kind of a shift in my typical videos. Tonight I want to show you something I've been asked a number of times, and it's usually from people who are new to primitive skills or new to the Atlatl. I've been asked, how do you lash on your spurs or your weights or your finger loops? So what I'd like to show you tonight is that exact process. It's a relatively simple process, but it is extremely valuable to have as a skill in your toolbox. So what we're making reference to is when I'm lashing on my spur here. So you can see the artificial sinew that's used to lash on the spur, hold it in place. It's not going any place. You can see the distortion in the color representing how tight that is. This item is lashed on there, this moose antler spur. It's not going anywhere, it doesn't shift any direction. The key is to lash it on, have it on nice and tight. So let me show you real quick how that process is. So what I use is an artificial sinew. Artificial sinew, you can buy it online, $10 to $15 for a spool of it, and you can see it's just a wax thread. But ultimately what I do here is I will get myself two good pulls of arm length here. I'm going to cut it, and let's say that we're going to lash on this turkey feather to an item. All right, so let's say we want to join this together. I don't have any river cane, so I'm using just a dowel tonight. But what we want to do is we're going to take this artificial sinew, and I'll be honest with you, most people that have been around, this is very simple and basic, but this is for the new beginners. So I'll take this strip of sinew and I'm going to tie a knot in it. I'm going to tie a big knot. So I just tie it and I just keep looping it through. And the point here is to really just get a big knot so I can have something to grab a hold of. So here we are, got a nice knot, tight knot in it. I'm going to cut off any extra just out of habit. There we go. Now I got a knot there. And really what that is for, so I can grab a hold of it and pull it. I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to cross over that loop and I'm going to pinch it. Then I'm going to put it on the back side of my dowel and I'm going to pinch it. So then what I'm going to do is, as it's pinched, I'm going to wrap it over top of whatever I'm lashing together. I'm going to get it started. So as you can see, I've got my loop, my knot, and my wrap already started. So as I get one or two wraps between this, I keep that pinched and I just pull her tight. And as you can see, as I tighten it, you're already starting to distort. But the goal here is to get it nice and tight and pull it tight. So then, as we're lashing it, stop, pull it tight, wrap it again, and just keep wrapping it and get a nice tight wrap around that. So we wrap it a handful of times, pulling it tight, and you can actually see the distortion that I'm talking about. That's what you want. You want to get this loop nice and tight. So again, keep wrapping her. And it's a preference. I've actually taken my sinew and cut it down, split it in half so it's a little thinner. But for the sake of this demo, I thought I'd keep it a thick band so you can see it. So then, as I do this, I just keep pulling it tight. and wrapping it and wrapping it. And then as I finish and I have that lashed down, I'm going to finish on this side of it, and you want to make sure that as you're finishing it, you're close to this side. Here's the end of it. I keep my finger on there to keep it tight, and I'll cut it. Discard any extra. Pull up your loop, and then feed your thread, your sinew through it. Once you have it through your loop, as you can see there, then I'm going to grab that knot and I'm going to pull it through. Now, you know you got it tight when it's hard to pull through. So, sometimes I'll even bite down on it and pull it through this way. Now, I've got it started. So as I pull that thread, I want to make sure I'm keeping that nice and tight. It's now at the start of my wrap. I'm going to finish it. Now as I pull this, I want to be able to pull that thread underneath it to secure it. And you know when you've got it secured because you can actually feel it roll underneath your wrap when it's nice and tight. That's when you know it's time to cut the extra. So, pulled it through, extremely tight. It's lashed on. Take your knife, kind of slide it down, because if you're working on a cane, you don't want to cut into the cane. Or if you're working on a piece of wood that you finished, you don't want to cut into that wood. Pull that nice and tight, cut it. Pull that nice and tight, slide your knife down, and cut it. And there you go. You've just lashed on a turkey feather. That is not going anywhere. And I'll be honest with you, I've used artificial sinew not only for lashing on Atlatl weights and spurs and fletching, but I've even used it in my camps when I'm making a shelter and I just want to lash some branches or wood together to make a frame. But there you go. Lashed on, not going to go anywhere. I've got Atlatl, for instance. This Atlatl here is 25 years old with its original artificial sinew that's still on there. You can see it's aged and it's fraying. Every now and then I'll run some beeswax over it to get the threads back together. But it's been lashed on there for 25 years, never came off. Original spur, original weight, original sinew, still hasn't come off. A great skill set to have, very simple to learn, awesome when you're out in the field to be able to lash things together like that with just a ball of artificial sinew. So hope this video helped. Just a quick little info commercial, let's call it, as long as it's turned into. Hope it's helped, and I appreciate everybody watching the video, and thanks for visiting VictorAtlatl.com. And remember, go prehistoric.